My beautiful home state, Utah, is closer to making one of the worst decisions a state can make than it has been in a very, very long time, and that is legalizing marijuana. This is according to the Marijuana Moment. You didn't know there was a newspaper called that, but there is. This is what they say. The survey from the Deseret News and Hinckley Institute of Politics released on Sunday is one of the latest to show that voters are ready for a policy change, with 53% of respondents agreeing that the state should enact adult use cannabis legalization, including 30% who strongly embrace reform. It also shows that an overwhelming 77% of voters support the state's existing medical cannabis law. Now, I am praying that this is a bad poll. I hope that this is not accurate. It very well could not be accurate, but it also could be accurate, and I think people need to look at that. I know people in my sphere of influence don't like marijuana. They know that it's horrible for states. However, there are a lot of libs in cities like Salt Lake City and Park City. I guess anything that ends in a city, basically, there's libs here. I know that Utah votes Republican every year, but I don't think people understand the extent to how liberal places like Salt Lake are. I mean, Salt Lake really is becoming a Portland and a Seattle. It's very sad to see, but I think the reason why I don't want to just disregard the poll, even though it does seem a little high, I don't want to disregard it completely because there are a lot of liberals in Salt Lake, and there are liberals, frankly, kind of trying to go everywhere in Utah and make Utah not Utah. In my younger years, I've changed on this a lot, by the way. So if you're watching this and you support legalized marijuana, I used to also support legalized marijuana in my younger years. I was a lot more libertarian on things like this. And then I moved to Washington for 2 years. And it occurred to me that legalizing marijuana, and I think a lot of people feel this way, has never once made a place better. Not one. Like, you just can't point to a place and be like, the crime stats went down. They don't. They go up. Even though you've legalized something that otherwise would have been criminalized, the crime rates still go up. So, and that's just one thing. But also just having marijuana waft through the streets, like in Washington or Colorado or California, not usually a plus, especially if you have kids like me and a lot of you guys as my viewers. So that occurred to me. The other thing that happened, this is just one story, is one day I'm knocking doors as a missionary. That's why I was there in Washington. And a man opens the door and you basically just had weed wafting out of his apartment. Horrible, like super strong. And he was stoned out of his mind, and it's like, whatever, I was used to this. But then 2 little girls came out of the door to see who was there. And you could see that they were a little bit secondhand high. And that kind of sealed the deal for me. I was already kind of like, I don't like getting in the streets, but seeing that really sealed the deal for me. Kids obviously shouldn't be around it, and they are when it's legalized more. I became a libertarian no more after that experience. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will obviously oppose it, which I think is fantastic. I hope they exert all their political power possible to oppose it, and I think they will, and they have a lot, and they should have a lot, because most of the state are members of that church. But it's not enough alone. People have to oppose it on an individual level. It will make Utah like Colorado, and nobody wants that. Absolutely nobody wants that. Utah is infinitely better than Colorado. We already legalized medical marijuana here, and I actually want to make it clear, you saw in that poll that 77% said that they support medical marijuana as opposed to recreational, and I actually support that as well. I think it's actually been fairly successful in Utah. I think you hear anecdotal experiences of it going very well for people, but on a non-anecdotal level, if you look around, like, I haven't noticed, I've lived in Utah the whole time, but before it was legal and then after, I haven't noticed an uptick of it being abused here. You go skiing, you smell marijuana, that's kind of part of the experience, but outside of that, in neighborhoods, you're not really seeing medical marijuana being used as recreational marijuana, and for that, I think it's a success. However, recreationally, I don't think so. I don't know why we would want Utah to be more like California or Colorado. The progressive left is a cult, guys. I talk all about it in my new book, A New Cult. I talk about how the left has gone just crazy. I talk about some really crazy stories and kind of found some things out in my research. I have a feeling you'll enjoy it. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel so other great patriots like yourselves will see it, and tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern to see the live show, or you can check out another video right here.